Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Work at Home Rockstar Podcast. Excited for today's episode. We have the virtual CFO of OptiTax, and what he does is he helps people with a basic understanding of business taxes. Very, very important stuff to know, by the way. So I'm excited to be rocking out today with Uroš Lovišček. Hey, Uroš, you ready to rock?
Of course I am. Thank you. And
Awesome.
thank you for having me. It's my
No
pleasure.
problem. I think it's going to be fun. So now we always start off here on a good note. So tell me a story of success in your business that we can be inspired by.
So my story of success starts with building my own brand, going out there, putting in the hard work. So started from the scratch. Okay. Started from the family business further on, started from the scratch with zero clients, solo tax practice. And through networking, meeting people, going out, I was able to build my own brand to the point where I'm consulting in at home in Slovenia and overseas in the United States, Canada, and all over the world.
Wow, that's amazing. And so when you were getting started, is this something that you always knew you wanted to do? You always wanted to be a business owner, or were you an employee and it just kind of fell in your lap? How did that work?
This would be really like yes and no answer. For the first thing, yes, I always knew I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I actually never had a real job. Never. As a student, yes, I was working part-time here and there, a couple of things, but I never ever had a real job. My only real job as employed was at my father's business. And probably I got that mentality and idea of owning and running your own business comes from there, from the family. Because this is what I've seen, this is what I've learned. And I was always kind of destined to succeed my dad in a family business. But also, meanwhile, I decided to take my own journey, also working with my dad, starting my separate journey as a tax advisor, solo practice. And I always said, I'm an unemployable person because I just don't fit in some business structure where I would be like in a bottom.
Yeah,
I need to create something for myself.
yeah. Yeah, I think most entrepreneurs would say the same thing. So if you're not fitting in at your place of employment, then maybe you're an entrepreneur. You're just you're just
Exactly.
waiting for that opportunity, right?
Exactly.
So now, not everything goes as planned, right? There are some things that just don't work out as well as you might expect them to, and some mistakes that you make along the way. So we talk about the bad note here. Tell me something that did not go as planned and what we can do to avoid that or recover from it if it happens to us.
Okay, what doesn't go as planned? Couple of years into my solo practice, I got a great connection. I assumed at the time for investment actually, and it was the field of the business that I really love. Actually, it was the investment into auto parts business. So it included racing and everything. So for me as a petrol head, this was like tingling feeling that opportunity arose. And I did all my due diligence. I I come from the finance sector, so I did my all the tax due diligence, finance due diligence. I check all financial data. Everything was perfect. So I decided to go with it. I borrowed some money. I invested in that company because I didn't see what could go wrong. I checked all the scenarios. I played all the scenarios in my head. What could go wrong? Because we always say it looks too good to be true, and that usually is. And at that time, everything seemed perfect, but I had that gut feeling that something's wrong. and I did listen to it. And short year after that, I've seen what was wrong. It was actually the whole business was legit, but it was dying. The production models were running out. It was actually the last season. But at the end, even if that would if everything would be okay with that, even it was kind of fraudulent activity.
Fraudulent, yeah.
Yeah, fraudulent activity going on with that. But even if everything would be fine, as it seemed, next year, 2020, COVID hit, and all racing in the world stopped. Because this was also part of my due diligence. No matter how bad the recessions are, how bad the economic downfalls are, companies always invest in racing. Because this is promotional activity, that's part of their development, so racing never stopped. And surprisingly, with COVID 2020, racing stopped completely.
Wow.
And this thing would go south either way.
Wow.
So yeah, we got it through. It left kind of bitter feeling, but upside from that was I gained tons of new connections. So, but the lesson from there is always trust your gut feeling. If you really feel something's off, just go with it.
Yeah. That topic just keeps coming up over and over and over again. I've done so many episodes of this podcast, and the gut feeling, it's crazy because it's something that you can't explain, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
exactly.
not like, well, there's no proof that the gut feeling exists, except that everybody experiences it, and everybody does, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and it's even more frustrating when, like you say, you look at something on paper and you use your hand and you're like, wow, this is amazing. Like there's no way this can go wrong, but something there is going like, this is weird,
And everything for me, I'm a finance guy. I'm a business math guy. I checked all the math, all the data, all the orders, everything. Everything was fine. Everything was legit. Orders were real. Orders was coming in. Production was real. There was 15 employees. And everything checked out. But even when logical compartments proved everything, like gut feeling was right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's so crazy. And I mean, I think that it's even more frustrating because if you had not gone for it, like if you had listened to your gut, eventually you would have figured it out. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, but it would have been COVID probably. That would have been the thing that you would have been like, oh, that's why I didn't get into it. It was something else too, right? That you may not have ever seen. And so I think there's a lot of people that, they sort of get this gut feeling, they don't do it, and then they never really find out why. Right? It's just
exactly.
It's gone, it's done. Right. So it's very difficult to prove that your gut is right until something goes really bad. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, I'm hoping that people can listen to the experiences of the people on the show going like, yeah, your gut is right. Listen to it, right?
Exactly. And the most important thing is that you take your lesson. Whichever way it goes, good or bad, usually these are bad things. The important thing is that you learn your lesson. Otherwise, you're going to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other part of it too, is that even though your gut was warning you, there was something going on there. In the end, there was something to be taken out of it, right? And I mean that is another common theme. We've talked about the bad note every podcast, and some of them are really really bad. But here they are on a podcast talking about that bad note with a successful business now, right? So,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where, number one is, yeah, if you trust your gut, well, then I'm guessing you're probably just going to go much quicker into whatever you're supposed to go into without all that turmoil and that bad feeling, right? But if you
Exactly.
don't trust your gut and you go into that, well, then it's probably a lesson. There's probably something in there that you're going to get out of it anyway that's going to get you to that success eventually. It just might take a little bit longer and be a little bit more painful on the head, right?
Right there. Right there.
So let's talk a little bit about keeping the hat full, cash flow. And I mean, this is right up your alley, right? So tell me, can you give us, actually, can you give me some idea of how you handled your own cash flow, especially in the beginning of your business? Did you have troubles with it? Like, I mean, this is up your alley, so you probably had some that you could use, or was there things that you noticed that everybody does wrong?
Yeah, of course. At the beginning, we had a saying that don't know exactly how to translate it to sound right, but usually we say that the blacksmith's horse usually walks barefoot. Uh, if it does make sense. So at the beginning, of course, I understood all that, but didn't have time to practice on myself, or even better said, to resource. If you as a business owner also now at the beginning, all the money that comes in, you just have to pay some expenses, invest back into development, either advertising or new equipment or social gatherings, networking, whatever you have to invest to grow your business. And we all know at the beginning of the business, money is tight. So it's really difficult to budget, because budgeting is one of the best things you can do to ensure stable cash flow and also take right decisions. What I like to result or advice is for everyone to keep, let's say, 3 or 5 different bank accounts where cash flow coming in splits into different bank accounts. So you always have money for taxes. You always have money for expenses. The other accounts are for investment, profits, and your distribution. And this is also what you say, pay yourself first. If you split all the money that's coming into the company, if you split it that way, you get paid right away. You're not the last. You don't pay everything else, because this is like normal for every entrepreneur. They're paying everything else, taxes, expenses, and they're broke.
Yeah.
And that's kind of normal. This is accepted. But how long can you do it? It's also impacting your moral. But if you split every income, you know exactly, if you get $1,000 in, 30% of that, or depends on the state, needs to go for taxes. We'll optimize that taxes later. If we have enough expenses, enough deductions, there will be money left over in the tax department.
Yep.
But keep that money there. Whatever happens, you are able to pay your tax. Next to expenses, you know exactly, if you're producing something or selling a service, you know exactly what costs, what expenses do you have to produce that product. So, I don't know, 20% of your selling price are expenses. Electricity, cost of goods, whatever you need to run your service or production. So $200 from that 1,000 goes straight into expense. We always have money for expenses. And then we split profits in investing. And where we want to invest, we have money there. If we don't, we can't invest.
Wow. Love it. Wow, I love it. I do something similar. I actually do split all my money into different things, but it's more like a personal buckets. But I've never done it like in this way. I do have a tax account though. And that was big learning experience for me. Like to throw money into a tax bucket, for forever. And I do actually throw the 30% in. And I think that's a great number because, when you're as an employee, you get this tax refund at the end of the year, right? Well, it's kind of similar to that. You're throwing 30% in. You're probably not going to pay a full 30% in your taxes if you've got a good accountant and a strategist, of course. So you end up having some extra money in there that you can now take and put it into your investment bucket later on, or maybe you can take it and go take a trip or whatever it is you want to do with that money. But yeah, if you're throwing 30%, then you're throwing more than what you're going to end up needing, right? But I love that whole the profit and investing. I'm going to start implementing that as well because I think that for me, the thing that I do the less of is investing. I do less. I mean, I run my business as but when it comes to like investing in something new or, trying something out, that's such a difficult decision for me. I'm like, do I buy this new AI tool? Maybe not. And I just wait and wait and wait and wait. And then by the time I actually make that purchase, it's a necessity at that point. But I mean, there's a lot of things that you can invest in your business that would just improve your productivity right off the bat. But if you had this account, like you say, you'd know, I got money in there. Sure. Let's give it a try.
Exactly. Yeah. Right there. And if I go a little bit, one step back from this, when we touch cash flow, actually cash flow is the part of business that many, I'm not going to say most, but many business owners don't understand or understand properly. Everyone is considered with sales and revenue. So sales are going good, revenue. How much can we sell? Okay. But second thing is profit. Are you profitable? Yes. But are you collecting that money? How much money is actually coming in? Because you can have high accounts receivable. You can have super high expenses. You're not, whatever it is. This is why we know the term profit rich, cash poor. Yeah. When a company shows super sweet profits at the end of the year, and that they have to pay taxes on that profit. Oh. But you don't have money.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the bills are paid in cash. Profit pays nothing.
Yeah. Wow. And you're right. And I think it's fairly complicated to keep track of all that stuff, especially considering, some of your expenses are paid yearly, some of your expenses are paid monthly, some of them are totally irregular, right? They just pop in and, if you don't have all that stuff figured out, then you don't really know what's going on. Like some month you might end up getting, especially as a solopreneur, some months you might get hit with these huge bills that happen once a year, right? And so then you have a terrible month.
That's true, but as you said, if those bills hit you once a year, whether it's December, January, March, that bill is going to come in March. Mm-hmm. You know it in December, you know it in November. And there is an amazing tool that you can use for everything in that matter. And it's cash flow forecast. We do it with our clients. You can do it on weekly basis, monthly basis, depends on sort of business. And you put all the expenses in. First, you have analytics. How is cash flow going on up to this day?
Yeah.
And from the day on, we make a projection. This money is coming in this week, next week after next month, 2 months from now, 5 months from now, and so on. And there we go with expenses. We're going to have these expenses to pay next week, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and so on. Then, of course, we have payroll, and so on and so on. And if we have a projection long enough, like 5 months, 6 months, we can put all these annual billings in there too. So we can see how these annual billings impact our cash flow.
Wow.
And once you have all this done, first thing is that with today's trend of income and expenses, you can see the issues that are going to arise months from today. And you have time to address them. You have time to address them today. If you can see with today's trend, I'm going to be out of money in 5 months. Okay. So we have to increase our sales, hack our expenses today. So we're not going to hit the wall in 5 months. Next step, you can play with that. Okay. If I invest in another employee, if I put more money into marketing, if we invest into new machinery, okay, if we pay cash for machinery or we add a new employee, how is this going to impact today's cash flow? Can we afford it? How is it going to affect it? How much we need to increase our revenue? Or, of course, I always advise taking up loans, financing equipment, never pay cash for your equipment. Do you have enough cash flow to finance that equipment? And you can just play. You put numbers in and you see how it's going to work out in next months for the whole year. And this is how you can make informed decisions. There's always a gamble. You never know. We have 2020. In March 1st, no one knew what's going to happen March 16th.
Yeah.
No one knew that the world's going to stop.
Yeah.
But still, with this kind of tools, you can make informed decisions what you can do and what you can actually not do. If it shows you just can't do this, you can buy, I don't know, 10 times the inventory that you have just to bump up the revenue. You just can't do that.
Hi, it's Mark Mawhinney from Natural Born Coaches, and I want to give 2 very big thumbs up to Tim Melanson and his Creative Crew agency. I have been using them for a long time, and I am 100% happy. They get the job done right, they're fast, and they let me focus on my business. I don't have to worry about anything. So again, I want to give them 2 very big thumbs up. I have no problem recommending them. I don't give testimonials for everyone because my name is attached to it, but I gladly do so for Tim and the Creative Crew agency. So use them, you won't regret it, and good luck.
Yeah. And so now, and this kind of stuff, like, because we talk about how to bill your clients. So one of the other challenges that I think a lot of solopreneurs especially come into is this irregular income. You don't necessarily have a knowledge of how much income you're going to be earning every month because maybe it's all based on sales. It's based on one-time projects, right? That really is a huge selling point for trying to figure out how to get your business to charge more retainer type of work, right? Because if you really have no idea what's going to happen, like if you've got no base, like I know for me, I've been transitioning a lot of my income to monthly sort of stuff as much as possible, as much as I can, right? And then there's still that, that irregular one-time project stuff. But there's a lot of great strategies on how to move things into sort of a retainer type model so that you at least have a basic idea of what's going to be coming in 6 months' time from now, right? Is that what you recommend as well?
Of course. If it's possible, create part of your business as a retainer. So you get subscription clients, retainer clients that is gonna make your baseline earnings. Of course, those will deviate also. So someone will find someone cheaper. Someone will close their business, or whatever can happen. But you kind of have your baseline, and you always have to work to build and increase your baseline. So always keep getting new clients on a retainer.
Yeah.
So this is one thing. And from there on, you build your one-time project that maybe can become a new retainer later on.
Yep.
So you always try to sell both.
And now, do you, just out of curiosity, do you treat the income? So you mentioned that all the income that comes in goes into all these different accounts. Well,
Yeah.
do you treat them differently if it's a retainer income versus like a one-time project, or it's just the same? You just separate them into the accounts no matter what?
Do the same.
Yeah.
I treat them the same. I have like automation done. So every income that's coming in splits automatically based on percentage I set, which is super convenient. And it's okay if you have the base self-control over the bank account, because this also depends. You might find yourself in a pity. Okay, I need some money. I'm gonna take out of tax account.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it back in, I don't know, next week, next month. I'm gonna give it back later, but I need that money now. Okay, or you take out of your profit account or whatever. So if you don't have the self-control dialed in, I also advise to make it difficult for yourself to access certain accounts. Like some accounts you have to have on your mobile, access immediately over the app.
Yeah.
Some accounts, cut the card. You can only access them physically driving to the bank, if possible, I don't know, 100 miles away.
Yeah.
And this is your rainy day fund. Rainy day fund. So you can't touch it. You need to go to the car, drive for hours to physically access that account. You don't have a card. You don't have online access. You have nothing.
Yeah, you can also have different like bank accounts, like in different banks, and you can have them connected through like I don't know, it's different in every country, but for mine, it takes like a couple days for the money to arrive from one account to another. So you don't have immediate access to it. So okay, fine. If you need the money, it'll be there in 2 days. Right?
Exactly.
And then by then the emergency is past. Right? Right on. So now let's talk a little bit about the Jam Room. So tell me a little bit about having a successful home office and what you do to set that up.
Yeah. One thing for me is that I'm very used to having home office. We always, from when I started at 15 or something, working for my dad in a family accounting firm, we always had home office. It was actually a real office within our house. We also had employees and everything. But today it was that I'm working from my actually home office, upper floor in our house. And for me, it's amazing. The kids are in school or kindergarten during the day anyway, so I have my peace and quiet, and I'm super organized. This is one thing that especially after Corona, home workers don't get the discipline of working from home. Yes, okay, they're cozy. They get up whenever they feel like. Now you have to have a strict schedule, like you would go somewhere, but you don't have to drive. You get up, make yourself a coffee, do a workout if you need, or whatever your schedule is. But at, I don't know, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you are at your desk or on your couch if you want, if you feel comfortable working from the couch, doesn't matter. And you work. You have your work scheduled. You have to do this at 9, this at 10, this at 11. And of course, meetings and everything. So it's super important to have structure to your day, even if you're working from home. Because it's like a regular job. You have work schedule if you're employed somewhere, and it's the same working from home. What is great for me is when kids coming home, I'm already here. So as a business owner, especially in early years and even later on, you're working like 10, 12, 15-hour shift. But for me, working from home, that's a blessing where I can take 30 minutes off to play with my kids. I can take an hour and I can go back to work later on. When everyone's asleep, I can get another hour of work.
Yeah.
And one thing that I said from the first day when my firstborn was born, I'm never going to say, no, I don't have time. Whenever a boy comes, because they have easy access to you. You're in the house. Even if when I was working at my dad's office and my kids was there with his grandma, they had easy access to me. And they come with a ball or with some other toy. Daddy, can you play with me? Can you kick a ball with me? What is this? Can you help with that? And I never said, no, I don't have time. I got up, played with him for 5 minutes, if not more. Just kick a ball here and there a little bit, play with Legos, build something quick, and then I left him to play by himself and go back to work. So I was trying to be present as much as possible, and this is like the best part of the home office. You can also have you can be present with family lunch, dinner. You just have to schedule correctly.
Yeah, I agree. It's the same thing for me. It's not that you definitely don't work less, for sure.
Yeah.
But you have more control over that schedule. But on the other hand, like you say, you really got to be disciplined, because it does take a lot to be.
Yeah.
I found it was easier to tell my friends that I couldn't go do something because I had to work, for some boss, versus can't do that because I have like a huge project that I'm working on right now. I've got work to do, and it's me, because I think that a lot of people are sort of, conditioned to kind of, well, if it's up to you, just skip the day. Skip the day off, right? Come on. You got no boss to talk to, right? Have you found that?
Everyone assumes because you're home, you have time. You can go wherever.
Yeah.
And especially maybe in the younger ages, and when you have a girlfriend and so on, okay, you're at home anyway. Let's go.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I have a job to do. And this is kind of difficult. But what I would also like to say is we're all different. Me personally, I can work from home. I don't have to move out of the house. I love it. I have my home gym set up. I have my workplace set up. I have kitchen. I have everything here. I don't have to move anywhere. I love it. My wife, who's working with me, she's working with me for 3 years and something now in my business. She's the type of person that needs to go out into public office and have that human interaction that's normally going on in the office space.
Yeah.
And this is something that she is lacking working from home.
Yeah.
So here is something where like she's not happy with this part. So you have to figure out, especially with a kind of smaller company, when you don't have to have an office and you don't even have enough employees to fill that office, you have to find solution in maybe in co-working space and so on. To put someone, in that case, my wife, into co-working space where she can have that human interaction with other people, like coffee breaks and so on, and still working in family business, retaining home office.
Yeah, I think that's an important note because I've found the same thing as well. For me, I'm totally happy working from home. I've been working from home for 15 years. I think 16 maybe years now, and it's not a problem for me. But my wife, like she's the same thing. She does miss that interaction in the office, right? However,
Yeah.
now she's sort of made she's created a situation where she gets these day retainers for a company where she'll go in and she'll just work for that one day in that company.
Okay.
And that actually works out quite well because then she gets that, the both, right? And some
Yeah.
companies, it really does work well where they don't have the ability to hire somebody full time. So to hire a senior person to come in one day a week is way more feasible than hiring them full time. And so she's
Exactly.
found a way to make that work. But yeah, I think it's important because a lot of people really do need that social interaction. And it doesn't mean like I used to go to coffee shops and work at a coffee shop. And that's great, but it's different people every time. I think in a co-working space or in an office, it's the same coworkers. You get to know
Yeah.
them, right? And
Exactly.
you don't get that at home, right?
Exactly.
So there are ways you can get around that, but like you say, you have to know who you are and you have to know what your style is, right? Yeah.
Yeah. This can be challenging, especially if you don't address it soon enough.
Hmm.
You have to read the person. You have to know how to handle it and address it soon enough before the misery becomes like an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you can't. Then it's very difficult to fix it, right?
Yeah,
Once
yeah.
once it gets tough. And okay, so now let's talk to guest solo. So tell me what's exciting in your business.
What's exciting in my business is that I'm able to co-create success for my clients. This is the part that I really enjoy. I always enjoy helping, teaching people, and with my part of business, I always try to help people with the part of business that they're not familiar with. So I'm
Yep.
trying to teach them about it. I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to give them tools, and of course to navigate them through. And what I love is you can be so creative, especially when you come to tax film, finding different deductions. How can you use your own life, or how can your business fund your life? Because you always forget business is first, and then we create our life around our business. How about we flip the script?
Yeah.
We build the business, especially with small businesses, that is possible. Big corporations, of course not. But with small businesses, you can build your business around your life.
Yeah.
And this is the creative part. How can you leverage your business to finance your lifestyle and take all the tax deductions that you can?
Yeah.
Where are you going to travel? Travel somewhere where you maybe can invest in some real estate. If you are like in northern part of the US where it's colder, invest in some real estate in Florida. So you can have your vacations in Florida and your trips are tax deductible.
Love it. That's a great idea.
So you can always create business around your life because you have to be first. And honestly, I can count myself in, no doubt. We often forget about that.
Wow, right on. So how do we find out more about your business? And actually another question is who do you service? Like what where do they have to live in order? Because I think taxes are different everywhere, aren't they?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Of course, every country on the planet has its own tax legislation, but the general principles are the same all over the world.
Okay.
Like in Slovenia, in Europe, in US, the basic principles are completely the same. How can you use a vehicle in your business? You can either use mileage principles or actual expenses. You have to use vehicle for business purposes, not your private. But what is your private trip? You just can't deduct it. So you have to find a business purpose of every trip that you can. You have to collect invoices to be able to deduct all these expenses. If you just run your cards and get your card slips, that's not a deductible expense because you don't have real proof what you bought. Let's say you have a company car, okay, and you run credit card for your gas. Well, you could be buying booze or whatever at that gas station. If you don't have an invoice, an auditor, because we have to do all that because of IRS or any other financial institution from the government. Tax codes are, all tax codes in the world are incentivizing you for certain things. Let's take, for example, code 179 for this super popular for vehicles over 6,000 pounds. They want you to invest in heavy equipment, but it's the case that you can also buy a Rolls-Royce Cullinan for it. They also fall in that category.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So really what you're helping people with is more like you said earlier, it's the fundamentals. It's the things that apply everywhere. When it comes to like the actual, running the tax, well, then you go get an accountant in your area who knows the tax code, and then they do all the magic. But really, like you say, the generic part of it, like if your receipts, put some money aside, in purposes for certain things. That's all the same everywhere.
Yeah, cash flow principles, expenses, revenue, all that is like universal principles.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm teaching that. I also wrote a book about it for people to learn, because I don't want them to fail their business on that note.
Yeah. Okay, so how do we find you then? How do we find your book too?
Yeah, my book is on Amazon. It's called Master of Finance, because I want you or everyone who reads it to become a master of finance. That's crucial for every business owner. Second, best access to get access to me is through Instagram. It's Uroš _DMFCFO, where I put daily content out, daily nuggets about taxes, about financing, about cash flow, all finance principles within the business. And I'm sure every single video will help you get one step further in your business, understand something more, how to handle your finance.
Awesome.
And of course, they can also contact me through the channel.
Awesome. Thank you, Uroš, for all this. This has been a really great interview. Lots of really good principles for us to be using. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. And as I said, what I want most is to get the word out, to get awareness about it out. This is why I wrote the book. I also created a course a while ago. And this is why I'm also doing a podcast to inform business owners about what they have to know. The biggest issue is they don't know what they don't know. And if I can help build awareness about what they don't know, I did something.
Love it. Right on. Thank you so much again. And to the listeners, make sure you subscribe, rate, and comment, and we'll see you next time on the Work at Home Rockstar podcast.